Welcome to Imperium Magisterium, a competitive fantasy deck-building adventure game. Enter the arena, where 2 to 4 players can compete against each other individually or in teams. Personify a mighty magi, capable of manipulating space, brainwaves, energy, and time itself. Choose your favorite hero according to their strengths and weaknesses, knowing that only their spiritual abilities vary. Each number represents the number of dice you get to use when making a check with that ability, be it mental or physical. Once you've chosen your character, you must create your basic starting hand. Select 3 different cards from the basic abilities, then 2 cards from any of the specialized disciplines. These 5 cards will form your starting hand. Once you've acquired some resources, you will be able to purchase more cards in town. If you're lucky, you might even find some cards for free while exploring the wilds. All cards are categorized as per their symbol under their image. When the game begins, players are placed within the walls of Via Parte, the city of gates, where citizens need their help. On their first turn, they will acquire a mission at random. Missions grant points that count towards victory, but they also reward you with resources in the form of arcs that you can spend in town to buy or upgrade cards. For each mission, players must roll their location using a d6 and write that number on the card with the provided dry erase markers. Then, if a non-player character, or NPC, is present, follow the card's instruction and roll for its location or place it on the map as indicated. The mission's player then hands that NPC to the player on their left, who will have to play that NPC before playing their own turn. As such, each player is an adventurer and a game master. NPCs must try to make their mission's player fail their mission at all costs and cannot be used to fulfill our own mission. Completing a mission will reward a player with 3 points and 6 arcs, and defeating an NPC will reward a player with 1 point and 2 arcs. A player defeats an NPC when they bring either their health or sanity to 0, so only the last hit matters when awarding points and arcs. Once an NPC has been defeated, that card is put aside and it gives its passive bonus, indicated at the top left of their image, to all other NPCs of that kind, even if they are already on the table. NPCs also gain passive powers as they level up, so defeating the same kind of NPC over and over makes them more powerful. Be advised though that some NPCs are immune to either physical or mental attacks, so plan accordingly. When a player's completed a mission, they can search that mission's location by moving to its tile and spending 2 Arcanum to open the portal. Arcanum is the player's spiritual energy, which allows them to use spiritual cards and equip creations and Arcanites. Arcanum regenerates at the beginning of every turn, like health and sanity. Once the cost to open the portal has been paid, players must roll a d6, where a success is 4 or over. Pick a random location card and check your result. If you are awarded a card, you must pick the top 3 cards from that pile, and you may only keep one of them. If you are unlucky and an NPC appears, it is chosen at random from the indicated pile, and that NPC's sole mission is to eliminate you. It will only disappear if someone defeats it or if you are defeated at any point. After searching the location, players are returned to town, where a new mission is immediately given. When players have acquired some arcs, they can purchase cards in town. To purchase or sell cards requires 1 action, but you may purchase or sell as many cards as you want. Cards cost as many arcs as their Arcanum cost, so be wary that the best cards are more expensive, but also know that every card has a counter card. Selling a card, whatever it is, gives a single arc back. When a player acquires an Arcanite or creation card, that card is placed on the table sideways until it is activated. Activating a card requires 1 action per card, as well as paying its Arcanum cost. When a specialized spiritual card is acquired, it is placed in the cooldown pile along all played cards. At the beginning of turn, players must have 5 cards in hand, so if their deck is empty, they must shuffle their cooldown pile as their deck. Players start with 3 actions every turn, as indicated by their speed. Besides searching a location, purchasing or equipping cards, actions can be used to attack a target physically or spiritually, to use a defensive or move card, or simply to move your character around the map. Each move action allows you to move 2 tiles, unless an opponent is on your tile at the start of your action. You can then only move 1 tile. When using a card to make an attack, defense, or move action, players must pay the card's full cost in Arcanum before using it. Once all actions are spent, their turn is over. During the game, players will engage in combat against non-player characters, but also against each other. In Imperium Magisterium, all attack checks are opposed. This means that the attacker throws a number of d6, as indicated by their attribute, against the defender's number of d6. Physical attacks are defended by the defense attribute, and spiritual attacks are defended with the same attribute as the attack. For each dice thrown, a basic success is 4 and over. There are, however, many cards that modify both the number of dice you have as well as the number you must reach on each die for success. Creations and Arcanites are particularly useful in that regard. Note that for simplicity's sake, NPCs use their defense attributes against all attacks. When making an attack check, the attacker deduces the defender's successes to his, which may result in a negative number. Then, follow the damage table to determine the final modifier to apply. This modifier is on top of any other active cards that player possesses, and final damage is reduced by the target's resistance, if any. Whenever a card deals at least 1 point of damage, that card's effects apply until your next turn. This means that your first attack might change the outcome of your other attacks, so plan accordingly. The goal of Imperium Magisterium is to obtain 15 points, which can be obtained in various ways, but remember there can only be one winner. The first player to get close to victory is going to become everyone's target, and players only have 3 lives, including the one you begin with. Get eliminated 3 times, and it's game over for you. When playing the first few times, as there are many cards to learn, it is suggested to use the draw 3 keep 1 method for all card purchases, until players know the cards well enough to not waste time picking them. This will greatly accelerate the rate of play, even though it's likely more difficult to build the exact character you want. As players get to know the game, they will want to build specific characters based on abilities they like, but remember that there is only 1 copy of each card, so it's first come, first served. With the many cards available to you combined with the upgrade system, it's possible to create all kinds of different characters. So don't be discouraged if someone buys a card you want, remain flexible and open to other possibilities. A few things to remember when playing. There is no combat allowed in town, and NPCs cannot enter. The town is a safe haven for everyone. NPCs can always deal damage to each other, even if they would have immunity to the damage type. Players are not immortal. When a player is defeated, they will skip their next turn and reappear in town the turn after. All their active cards are placed in cooldown, but their creations remain in play. Towers, turrets, and minions are inactive during that time and cannot defend. Once the player returns to play, they automatically activate and can act on that turn. Creations that come into play can act on their first turn at any time during that player's turn. All creations are immune to mental damage caused by mental abilities, but can always be harmed by NPCs regularly, even if they deal mental damage. Players should always have at least 1 basic attack ability in their deck in case they run into an NPC that has an immunity. Basic abilities can be played using any discipline, which is why the icon shows all the spiritual attributes at once. Upgrading cards should not be an option for the first few games, as you're learning the cards, but it will become more interesting as players experiment and get to know the cards better. The game comes with an adventure campaign pack for those who wish to partake in classic tabletop adventures with the Game Master. There are personality, alignment, background, and mastery cards offered as complement to an adventure. While most of those cards are not appropriate for the arena, the mastery cards could be used. Masteries are usually awarded to players who have completed 5 missions, so in a 30 points game, players who have completed 5 missions could draw 3 masteries and keep 1. Understand though that masteries give massive bonuses compared to other cards. Even though most of the important information can be found around the map area, make sure to have the icon's key table and the arena tables out when playing the first few times. You don't think this is complicated enough? Consult the optional rule set to spice things up. Or you know what? Make your own rules! Imperium Magisterium is meant to be a sandbox where everything can be modified. Make new cards using the blank canvases provided and play the game the way you want. Be the hero you want to be. Are you ready for an adventure?